You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, today I'm really excited about a special episode that we have. We have a Friday Takeover, continuing the tradition the last, maybe 6 or 8 weeks now. And what we're doing here on the podcast is, over the last few weeks, as you guys might have known, or if you're new to the show, my wife and I had a baby, Emmy Grace Fullerton. She is, I think, 13, 14-ish weeks old now. And so what I did on the podcast was I kind of schlepped the Friday show over to some of my other podcasting friends to see if they wanted to do a podcast episode and basically share some of their funniest stories in business, maybe some of their failures, some of their lessons as well, and just kind of give you guys a different perspective than, just hearing me rant Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So normally lately we've been doing solo shows on Monday. We've been doing guest interviews on Wednesday, and then some of the Friday episodes we've been doing takeovers. Well, today we're joined by none other than LeRoy Mains with Brilliant Borders, I think it's Landscapes, over there in Des Moines, Iowa. So just having some fun with my Des Moines people. So Des Moines, Iowa is right where Kory Ballard is and those guys. And LeRoy and Kory are really good friends, really good buddies. And so LeRoy owns a very successful lawn and landscape company. They do mowing, turf treatments. I think they've literally done a little bit of everything. And LeRoy's been around for quite a while in the industry. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to do a Friday Takeover show and have LeRoy take it over from here. So long story short, you guys have heard the likes of Kory Ballard. We've had B&B Lawn Care. We've had a little bit of everybody do these Friday Takeover shows, and they have been really fun, have they not? They've been very insightful. And what I told these guys is, hey, we're all slaying dragons, we're all kicking butt, and everybody wants to be the hero, right? And everybody wants to get it right. But to be totally honest with you, my first 10 years in business, we didn't get a lot right. We got a lot more wrong than we did right. That's a fact. And so I said, hey, why don't you help out these guys that are trying to grow their companies? Let's not talk about all the successes necessarily on this episode. Let's keep it fun. Let's keep it lighthearted. And let's talk about some of the awkward lessons or failures or just repositioning of the companies that we've all done along the way, which pretty much all of us have had to do in one way, shape, or form. Listening to Kory Ballard's episode just a week or two ago, bigger company, bigger, scope of the kind of work that they do. He shared some really interesting stories. If you guys didn't go back a couple weeks ago and check out his episode on Friday, Kory was talking about how they had some wire fraud, a couple $100,000. We're talking profit that the company has made. Then they go to pay off debt, and then they wire a couple $100,000 to the wrong people with some phishing, type scams from people that are really good, and this is what they do. They're career criminal professionals, So that was a crazy story, a little bit different than, me having a $100 overcharge on my, credit card on file or something like that. Gosh, can you imagine sending $200,000 in profit to the wrong person to pay off debt, and then you have to redo that again? But thankfully, it sounded like the story all worked out based on what Kory was sharing. But nonetheless, that's what we're learning from, man. It's just just getting some perspective and some other different points of views, and we love it. So here's the deal, guys. Today, we're going to hear from LeRoy Mains. Real time, we are getting ready for Launchpreneur Academy Live. We actually have everybody coming in tonight at 6:30 to 10:30 for the go-kart tracks. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. We can't wait to hang out with everybody and have a bunch of fun. If you guys hear a little bit of the sirens in the background, I'm actually shooting this podcast with the garage door open, which is a little risky in my subdivision because you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you might have a skid steer going down the road or a hoopty making some noise, who knows what. But it's a beautiful day. It's 60 degrees out. We're getting ready for everybody for Launchpreneur Academy tonight, and then all day Saturday is LAL 2021, and we got 365 people coming in. All right, how crazy is that? It's gonna be nuts, bro. Almost 400 people. So any which way, LeRoy, we super appreciate you. I've been able to be interviewed by LeRoy a couple times on the Green Grind podcast. Him and Kory put that podcast together. They co-host it. I believe it comes out every other Tuesday or every Tuesday, and they're great guys. They have great chemistry. LeRoy asks really good questions. I really respect LeRoy and how he handles himself and how he's grown his company. So Thanks again, brother, for taking a little bit of the workload off of my schedule for the Friday episode. We super appreciate you big time, and honored to have you on the show. And I know we're going to get you back on here before we know it. So without further ado, guys, let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer in the ATL. And we look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Hey, gang, I'm Mr. Producer, and you may have come across this podcast because you're thinking about making the leap into starting your own mowing biz. Let me encourage you to consider getting Brian's How to Start Your Own Lawn Care Business training program over at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Start your own lawn care business with information that'll just help lay a solid foundation that'll get you to profitability quickly. Here's what you'll get: a step-by-step approach to start your new business, how to create a roadmap and vision for your company. You'll learn how to shop and select the right equipment, discover the best strategies to market and gain customers, and of course, how to set up your back-end office and workflow. So grab that How to Start Your Own Lawn Care Business training program over at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com today. And remember, use the promo code PODCAST to save 10%.
Welcome, everybody, to Fullerton Unfiltered. As you may have noticed already, my name is not Brian Fullerton. My name is LeRoy Mains. I'm with Brilliant Borders Landscaping, and this is another edition of Friday Takeover. My name is LeRoy Mains, and I am with Brilliant Borders Landscaping, as I just said, and I am also co-host of The Green Grind with my friend and buddy Kory Ballard. And Brian has asked me to do a Friday takeover of his podcast today. Brian has put in a ton of work to get his a podcast going and up and off the ground, and it's been fantastic so far. So Brian, I truly appreciate you asking me to do this today. It's something that I put a lot of thought into, actually, and it's one of those things that I hope I don't screw this up too bad for you, and you end up with less listeners than when you started with. So again, thank you. And for those of you guys that don't know, Brian drops 3 of these, I believe, a week. I had no idea before we started doing our podcast that this is a lot of work to do these podcasts, and he's dropping 3 a week, which is fantastic. And man, there is just a shitload of work that goes into that. So Brian, kudos to you to be able to do what you do and continue to do what you do. I know that we certainly use your videos in our organization a little bit to give to new guys and those types of things. And my son started working for us this past summer, and he watched a lot of your videos on how to stripe and how to do a lot of that different stuff. So I truly appreciate what you're doing. So thanks again. I'll just kind of dive in here. I didn't really know what I was going to talk about. I talked to my wife a little bit about, what I'm going to say and or what I thought I was going to say, and she gave me some of her ideas. And of course, I didn't listen to any of those. I never do, and still didn't know really what I was going to say up until I started recording this thing. But, I sit here in my office today, kind of humbled and kind of in shock about where my business, I guess I should say our business, because my wife is involved in our business as well, but where our business is at today. And I can truly remember, days where I honestly, and so I guess we still have this today, but not nearly as bad. But there were some days in our organization, in our company that, and probably really wasn't even a company at that point, but I didn't think we were going to make it, today I sit in my office and I've got a good size office. I have a really nice desk. I have a table that was made for our podcast, and, my office manager's out and her thing doing her deal. And we've got, I think 22, 23 guys out working today in the field. And, I have the opportunity to do this, and I'm truly grateful and humbled by the opportunities that I've been given, and the sacrifice that others have made so my business can be here. It wasn't without a shit ton of work on my end. I will certainly say that. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of tears, a lot of labor that went into the thing. And there were some days when I just woke up and didn't want to do it anymore. And, I'll talk about that a little bit as well too, but, just a little background on our business. Like I said, I'm with Brilliant Borders. company's been in business for quite a while now. We've certainly made it past the beginning stages and those types of things. And our business was actually started by a good friend of mine, Brent. And it's kind of a strange story, but my wife, before she was even my wife, had purchased the business and the equipment from him. I don't really know if it was a business at that point, but it was the equipment and the name and a website, I believe, and those types of things. And, bought it from him, and that's kind of how it started. And I met her, and, we were obviously still living happily ever after. But that's kind of how it started. And I was in the hospitality business, running hotels and doing my thing. And it got to the point where I'll never forget this day when we were doing really, really well at the hotel that I was operating at the time. I was a regional manager for this company, and we completely blew the numbers out of the water that we were supposed to do. I was always a numbers guy, still am a numbers guy, love numbers. That's why you always hear me say, know your numbers. But, we blew the numbers that we were supposed to do from our P&L out of the water, and our CFO comes into my office and he said, "Man, those are fantastic." And I said, "Thanks. We're pretty proud of what we did, blah, blah, blah." And the next question is out of his mouth was, "What are you going to do this month?" And, man, that was just deflating to me. And I learned a lot that particular day about how to treat people and how to manage people. And so I've kind of been in management my entire life with that. But, anyway, getting back to it a little bit, she'd bought it and I was in the hospitality business, and that story was kind of the beginning of my end. It kind of took the wind out of my sails, and I just kind of realized that's what I was there for. I was there to make them money. And, I just remember thinking, I'm here to make him money. That's what I'm here for. And, that was kind of it for me. And continued to do that while I had to. I had to continue to do that, and ended up losing that job to something different. But, ended up with another company. And that was kind of the start of the beginning of Brilliant Boarders. At that point, my wife and I were just kind of doing this a little bit part-time on the side. And she was working another job as well, and I was working a full-time job, and Brilliant Boarders was just kind of starting up, nights and weekends type thing. And, it eventually got to a point to where we had to make a decision. And, we talk about that jumping off point in our podcast, The Green Grind. And, we on that show, we've actually talked to several, police officers that, made that leap from full-time job to leaving that full-time career and doing the lawn care landscaping thing full-time. And so check out a couple episodes on there. There's some great episodes on there. But anyway, when we started, it was just kind of something to do to make a little bit of extra money. And, as I said, we got to the point where one of us, it was time to leave our career and do this full-time. And that's what I did. And we started and things were going okay. They're just like any business. I wouldn't say they were going good by any means. Wouldn't say they were going bad by any means. Had no idea what the hell we were doing. I knew how to run a business, but for whatever reason, that didn't apply to my business as the financial side goes, and just really weren't, tracking profitability and those types of things. But we got to it, I think one year, and it was, it had to be October, November. I don't even remember for sure, but we had this project to do on the south side of town, and we were broke. I think our checking account was like 2 cents, or it might have been negative 2 cents at that point. Who the hell even knows? But, we had this job to do on Saturday. We were going to make like $1,500. And when I say make, we were going to walk away with $1,500. And, that was going to pay the bills for the next week, and we were going to be all right and continue to make it. And my wife and I woke up on Saturday morning to do this gig, and it was raining and sleeting and snowing. And man, that was a day that changed our business forever. And I'll never forget just thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to make it? How, this isn't going to work. We needed money. We had no money for fuel, gas, nothing to get to, it was just a mess. And so we ended up borrowing some money, and we made it through that and continued through that. But at that point, we kind of made the decision that, this thing wasn't going to work for us. It was just something that, it was time to throw in the towel. And I vividly remember sending messages to a couple of guys that I knew that were in the landscaping business and saying, "Hey, we're going to sell our business. Do you want to buy it? I think we were asking $15,000 for it at that time. And, it's kind of funny because nobody wanted it, and they were much smarter than I was at the time because it was not worth probably $15 at that time. The equipment was worth a little bit, but we're trying to sell a landscape curbing, concrete edging deal in Des Moines, Iowa, and really just wasn't worth much. So nobody bought it, and we made the decision that we're going to try to make it work, and that's what we've done. And it's been a great ride so far. We've certainly struggled along the way with it, and we will continue to struggle with it. But it's certainly provided a lifestyle that we have really enjoyed, and helped a lot of people along the way, and continue to invest in our employees and hopefully make their lives better as we do this. So that's been kind of key to us is, we've had a lot of guys working for us that have been here for several years, and it's been fantastic. And, we know their wives, their children, and, it's just been a great ride for us so far. So we truly love it. So anyway, that's a little bit about our business. Brian had asked me to also talk about, some deals with, where we had some struggles and what we did wrong. And, everybody always wants to talk about what they do right, but I can tell you, man, we've done a lot of stuff wrong. We've done a lot of stuff wrong with, zeros on the end of it. Spent a lot of money in places we shouldn't, bought a lot of stupid things that we shouldn't, just because we weren't smart enough to know any better. And I can clearly remember, as we sit here, this is November when this is being recorded in Iowa, and we're getting ready and gearing up for snow. Snow is a integral part of our business today. It's a huge part of our business today. But I can remember several years ago, gosh, this probably had to be 7 years ago. And we were just kind of getting into the commercial snow removal side of our business. And we got a phone call out of the blue one day from a company in Chicago. And they wanted us to plow these two strip malls that sat kitty corner from each other on the same intersection in Des Moines. And, there was like I don't remember, one of them, it was just a couple big strip malls. And anyway, they said, we'll pay, I think the contract for the 5 months was $30,000, so we're talking $6,000 a month. It was just a monthly contract. And, I remember I told my wife, I'm like, this is awesome. This is a $30,000 contract. We can't wait. And, this is going to be good. And she just simply asked the question, and, this is how I think typically. She said, well, how are we going to do it? We have one truck with one snowplow. I'm like, oh yeah. So, nobody thinks of that kind of stuff. So I certainly wasn't, I was looking at $30,000 we're going to make for this winter contract. This is awesome. And keep in mind, most of our jobs that we were doing were $700-800. We might get a $1,200 job here or there, but, so $30,000 was a huge chunk of money for us at that point. And so what we'd made the decision, or I made the decision. I think it was more me than her. But we're going to sub this out to these guys, and they've got skid loaders and pushers, and they knew what they were doing. And and this is, keep in mind, this is 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know. It was more than 5 years ago for sure. Probably 7 years ago. But I think they wanted like $90 an hour for their loader and pusher, and $75 an hour. That was back when the rates were still a little bit lower. And I said, great, let's do this. And I'll never forget it. We got like 72 inches of snow that year. And they were on an hourly rate, and I was getting paid monthly from this thing. And that $30,000 contract ended up costing us, and I didn't even know my numbers back then, but I'm guessing it cost me $20,000 probably out of pocket. So that didn't go very well. So I say that just because, I've done really, really stupid things. I continue to do stupid things. I just don't do them quite as much as I used to with that. But, that was a deal where at that point with our snow removal business, I thought, this is stupid. Why does anybody do snow? You can't make any money doing snow. Obviously, I just lost $20,000 doing this deal, or whatever the hell the number was. And, it was funny because, we were supposed to salt the parking lot or sand it. I don't remember what the hell it called for at that time, but we had an ice storm, and we've got these parking lots, that they're not massive, but they're probably between the two of them 2.5 to 3 acres, probably, I would say. And we had an ice storm. And so, they want salt spread. And guess what? I'm out there with this pusher, putting 50-pound bags in this thing, spreading salt through these things, and just look like a complete idiot. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that contract, it ended up costing that. And we clearly had no idea what we were doing. And I thought it was a good time to just say, the snow removal business isn't really for us. We'll just keep a little bit to just to keep our guys going in the wintertime. And that way they have a few hours, we can keep them. And the idea was that they'll come back in the summer. And, we still had no idea what we were doing with snow removal. And, that business for us has certainly evolved into a big portion of our business today. We do a school district here. We do, I think, 3 or 4 theaters, another big mall with a theater in it, and several big churches, and some senior living communities and those types of things. And snow's been a huge portion of our business. We absolutely love the snow business because it's profitable for us. We made the decision probably about 4 years ago that it's 4 to 5 years ago that it's really time to start getting into the snow removal business and doing it right. And we still didn't know our numbers. And my friend Kory has helped us a little bit with those numbers, not divulging too much, but he's made us realize that snow removal is a business that you can certainly make money at, and it's been really good for us. So enough on the snow removal thing, but I will give probably a couple more plugs, but here's another plug for the Green Grind. So we just dropped a brand new podcast today. As I record this thing, it's dropping today. It's with the ASCA, the Accredited Snow Contractors Association. It's a fantastic podcast. So if you guys do any snow, flip over to the Green Grind and check that one out because it's awesome. And then look back a couple more. There's a snow guru, Matt Bowman, on there too that talks about snow. So if you're looking for some snow information, flip over to the Green Grind, and Kory and I have some pretty good information out there that ASCA and the one with Matt's, they're fantastic podcasts. So listen to those things. So, so that was one of the huge problems that we made with our, with our business. And when I say we, I mean us basically. So, that's been something that I just kind of wish we wouldn't have made that mistake with, with the snow, but, because it cost us a lot of money, but we certainly learned from it, and that's been good for us. So, boy, what else to talk about? As I sit here, it's kind of strange. Usually my, the microphone's sitting directly across from me. Kory's bald grape is sitting there, and he's doodling something, and, we're talking to somebody else, and it's a little bit more difficult to do one of these things on your own. I will certainly say that. So, several other things we've done wrong is, and I'll talk a little bit on this because it seems to be, and I'll give you my opinion, even though you didn't ask for it, but is labor. And I can remember we made a couple of key hires along the way with our labor and just our employees that have changed our business. We certainly wouldn't be where we were at if it weren't for these individuals. And the first one I can tell you is a hardscape guy. His name's Armando, and Armando changed our business, and his brother actually worked with us for a little while as well. And we were looking for some guys to put in retaining walls, and, we were just at that point of our business. And this is probably 6 years ago, I would say. I think Armando's been with us now for 6 or 7 years, but so 6-7 years ago, and, put an ad, and Craigslist was the place at the time, and put this ad on Craigslist. And Armando walks in with his brother, and they're like, we're here to work. Or I forget how he said it. And, we're here to, and I said, okay, so what do you want? And blah, blah, blah. And, these guys had experience. They'd worked for a couple of the big boys in town. And, it was clear to me they knew what they were doing. And I think he wanted, at that time, like $16 or $17 an hour. And that was, to me, paying that amount of money for an employee at that time was just unimaginable. I was probably myself making about that at our business. And, it was just the time when it was a tough time to do that. And, we paid it. And Armando is still with us today. And Armando is a fantastic dude that works for us. He's the type of guy that you give him a blueprint and an engineered wall drawing, and he's going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be done right. And he was a huge hire for us, and we've done Probably not if you ask him sometimes, but I think we've done as much as we can to keep a guy happy. He's got a brother that actually two brothers, and one of them owns his own hardscape and landscaping business. And I know that he's tried to get him to go to work several times for him. And he keeps coming back to our organization. And I think about that. And I know his brother even offered him a little bit more money than we're paying him right now. And I just think, what type of workplace have we created here that makes somebody want to continue to come back to that? And, if you're struggling with getting employees and keeping employees and doing that type of thing, you need to look inside your organization and figure out why you're not keeping those people, or why you're not getting anybody through the door. Nobody wants to go work for somebody that is walking around the shop kicking a gas can and screaming and tearing everybody's head off. That's not the way they want to go to work. People come to work and they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like they're a part of your organization, and we've tried to do that with our people. So he was a huge key hire for us, and he's irreplaceable. I mean, he's a guy that you can't replace, and I hope we can continue to keep him and keep him for another 10 years, because he does phenomenal work, and we truly appreciate him and what he does for our organization. And one of our other key hires was a guy that worked for another landscaping organization here in town, and they shut down due to just bad ownership and bad bookkeeping, and they had some money stolen from them as well too at one point, and just couldn't get it together. And he was the general manager of that place and had been for 15 or 19 years. I mean, forever. I interviewed him and talked to him and was thinking about offering him a job and didn't know if I should, and had a younger guy that we were also interviewing at the time, and didn't really know which way to go. And I talked to a friend of mine actually that knew Lance, and Lance is our general manager here. But talked to a guy that was a friend of mine that was older that had known Lance for quite a while, and he knew the other guy as well too. And he just looked at me and he said, "LeRoy, hire experience. You'll never go wrong if you hire experience." And so we went with the guy with the experience, and that was probably one of the best pieces of advice that I'd ever been given. And it just kind of dawned on me that was one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever been given. But Lance came in here with all of his experience and changed our business and brought in some procedures and some policies from his old organization and some ways that they did things. And has truly changed our business. And Lance is the type of guy that, he's old school, and, he's usually the first guy in the office every day. And, I'm typically second. And he gives me hell for that every day when I come in after him, but I give him hell when he doesn't make it too. And, he's just been a great guy for our organization, and has changed our organization. And he's one that truly cares about what happens here. And he's another one that we try to treat well and, take care of and make sure he's got everything that he needs to be successful in our organization. And he's truly changed our business, and I'm grateful for that. And, labor is getting much, much more difficult to find, it seems like these days. And I think it's going to get to a point where you're going to have to figure out, what is the right size for your business. And we are certainly in the stages of that right now. What is the right size for our business? Labor is certainly making that come to a head much quicker than I had anticipated and I wanted. We have talked, on our podcast, The Green Grind, I've talked about, we're going to have to downsize some of our business a little bit here, which is on we're going to downsize our mowing. And, we've always been really, really good at building walls and patios and, whatever we do, in the landscaping side of things, but our mowing has been a really difficult process for us to figure out in the swing of things. And I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, time into it, stress into it, and we're not letting it all go, but we're going to right size that, and we're going to get some policies and procedures back into place before we try to take that off again, if we decide to take off again with that. So, that's been a big struggle for us, and we've been having to right size that, and we've been having to right size that just because the employee market has been extremely difficult. And, that's another thing that, we have to take a look at is why can we not keep, why can we not keep these people? And, other companies do. So is it something within our organization? What are we doing wrong within us that we're not able to keep these guys? Because I know some of the big guys, I see them out mowing and they've got their guys there and they're doing a great job. So that's something that we have to look at. But, employees are going to continue to be difficult. I think if anybody thinks that this is just going to get better in the next couple of years, you're sadly mistaken. So make some plans and try to figure out how you're going to, how are you going to survive this? Because I don't know if it's ever going to end. My guess is it may not. And, so you have to right size your business, and you're really going to have to sit down and figure out, okay, why do people want to come work for us? What can we offer somebody that they want to come work for us? And, as a business owner, I'm taking that pretty seriously right now. We do a trip for our management staff, and that may change, but we've done that over the last several years. We fly them out for a weekend and take their spouses and stuff, and dinners and shows and those different types of things. And, we have family movie days where we rent out a theater, and the families can come and bring their kids. And, we just try to continue to make it a nice place to work and a place where they feel a part of and feel that we care about our employees, because we certainly do. So, that's going to continue to be a struggle, and we will continue to talk about that on our podcast. And I'm sure Brian will continue to talk about that on his podcast as well, too. So, that's just something that's not going to go away. So, you're going to have to figure out a way to work with that. So, I don't know what else I really have to talk about other than, one thing that I will say our business struggled in the beginning with was bad ownership. And, that was me. I have my wife and I have figured out a way to make our ownership better. And part of that was me getting sober several years ago. I've struggled with alcohol addiction, through my mid years of my life, and I've got that resolved now and have been sober for a little while, quite a while now, actually. And our business has certainly done better because of that. But, ownership of a business is something that I have learned through the years to take very, very seriously. And I do that because I have to think that, my business, not only does it take care of my family, but it takes care of the other 24 families that are employed by us. And that's something that I certainly take very, very seriously, and my wife does as well. And that certainly wasn't the case in the beginning. There were mornings where I just, I'd be out the night before and just wouldn't get up and go to work and, tell our our customer, hey, sorry about that. This product didn't come in, or this happened today, or this broke down today, when that wasn't the case. And so one of the things, that we've started to do, and I guess did this, years ago when I tried to change my life for the better. But one thing we did was, we started to operate our company with some integrity. And, that to me is good ownership when you have some integrity, and not only to your customers, but to your staff, to your other managers, to your suppliers, pay your bills on time, just being a good business owner all the way around. And, that's something that a lot of guys don't understand. That process is taking care of the back end of things, and that all goes with paying your bills, paying your employees, paying your insurance, paying your attorney bills, all those different types of things. And that's something that was extremely difficult for me in the beginning. And I wouldn't say I'm a master at it today by any means, but I'm much, much better at it. And I'm certainly much better at it sober than I am drinking. I will certainly say that. So, I think that a lot of business owners really struggle with how much time needs to be put into a business. And I can't tell you how much time I put into our business. I put in as much time as I need to put into our business. And, some days that's 30 hours a week. Some days that's 70 hours a week. It just kind of really depends on where our business is at. And, I have a schedule. I'm in our office typically every morning. When we get into the winter, I take an extra day off during the week or something. We'll take off a Monday or Friday or something, just to spend some more time at home and unwind and things. But I'm typically in the office by 7:00 every morning, 7:30 at the latest when it comes to winter. And that's just what I do. I'm in here every day because I want to be a part of this thing. And, like I said, I started this whole thing off and didn't know when I sat down where this podcast was going. I hope that it made some sense to some people. I know it might be scattered a little bit, but the one thing that I guess I want to get across is, as I sit here and look through my office, I've got these posters that say talent, hustle, grind, grit is one. And then the last one is execution. And it says, at the bottom of it, it says execution. It kind of defines this thing out. And it says, stop talking and put in the work. Stop talking and put in the work. And, you can do a lot of talking. You can do a lot of this. You can do a lot of that. But, nothing gets done when you're sitting on the couch or sitting at your desk. So, get up there and outwork the other guys. And, man, that'll get you a long way. I can assure you that. So, I hope that made some sense to some people. If you want to hear more of my story, anything like that, feel free to reach out. LeRoy at brilliantborders.com. You can find me there. We also, our podcast, The Green Grind. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all those different types of things. Brilliant Borders on Facebook, Instagram, all those different types of things as well too. BrilliantBorders.com. You can find us too. So, I hope it made some sense. And again, I want to thank Brian for what he's done in this deal. Brian is truly an inspiration to a lot of dudes that are small and just getting started. And he's got some great content out there on his YouTube channel and all the other stuff he does. And, there's a lot of other ones out there as well. But Brian seems to be very, very, very talented in what he does and can certainly put on a lot of these things. I know he's doing the Entrepreneur Academy here coming up. My buddy Kory Ballard's talking at that. I think he's got some other pretty good dudes talking at that thing. So check that out if you're not doing that. There's all sorts of information out there that you guys can jump on and help. I'll be happy to help you out. There's just tons of guys out there that'll help you. So, Brian, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing fantastic work. I hope this Friday takeover was something that was interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed doing it. I will say it's much more difficult to sit here and try to figure out what to say for 30 minutes without somebody sitting across the table from me. So I'll look forward to my little bald buddy sitting across the table from me again. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and we will chat with you soon. Take care.
Do you want to keep the cash flowing this winter? Head over to L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com and check out all of Brian Fullerton's new courses and powerful resources to get you cashing in on that white gold through plowing snow. The snow plowing training course is easy to understand, and you'll learn what it takes to do the job effectively and how to bid, price, and estimate snow plowing for both residential and commercial properties. L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com has 3 new resources to take the hassle and guesswork out of securing your snow removal jobs. Plus, there's eye-catching marketing materials that can help you secure new clients quickly. Ready to crush the snow game this year? Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.